Tony, we're asking everybody after what the news about Aaron Lennon about mental health in football and support for players. What do you think? Do you think there's enough already? Do Albion do a lot?
Well, I think the money in football enables football to cover the majority of things that happen. Aaron's case, I'm not sure what was going on. I think that I'm not close to it, so I'm not sure how far down the line he's been without anybody noticing. But it's obviously a worry and it's a concern, and it's something that everybody should look at. And if they can improve it, then brilliant. But I'll be very, very surprised if the PFA and the people involved in that have not got things in place to look after it.
It's something you've always thought been really big on, though, isn't it? As much as physical fitness, the mental well-being of your players, or the emotional well-being of your players, shall we say? Yeah,
I think we're in such a different world now, Rob, and the media is every time you pick something up, and especially in the Premiership, you're under the spotlight, and people react differently and can react differently. So we have to be more aware of that, as an industry. But like I say, I'd be very, very surprised if Gordon and the PFA have not got places or things in place that cover these situations.
Thank you, mate. Craig Dawson's contract. He's got a year left. Has he been offered a new one yet? Do you know what's...
Yeah, I think they're talking. I think the club's talking. I think it's a bit like Fletch. It was a bit like Gareth. It takes time, Rob. But he's been offered a contract. Again, not getting too involved in it. I'm not sure how far they are, but from what I can gather, Craig wants to sign and the club want him to sign. So it's just a matter of negotiating and hopefully getting it done.
He's missed one game through suspension in this season and last season as well. That's 2 seasons. That's extraordinary for him.
Yeah, he's done smashing, Craig. He's a great lad. We're hoping that we can get a deal done. I'm sure, I know Dawes would love to sign another deal for the football club. I just think, Rob, it's negotiations and it's finding that middle point and that middle ground, and that's what these situations, it takes time to get to that middle point.
Any news on your contract?
Well, it's the same. I'm like I said, at the end of the season, I'll meet Mr. Lai and I'll go out with John and we'll talk about all the stuff that we need to talk about.
Saw a report this week that said you're keen to lower the age of the squad if you can. What's your thinking there?
No, I think we've got I think the oldest squad in the Premiership in that respect. But having said that, I think we're in the top 3 in respect of output, fitness-wise. So the lads will have a little bit of a go at me if I'm saying that the group is too old. But it's just under. I think the mid-20s. We need players there. We've got some good young players coming through, but we need to find that middle ground as well. A good balance. I think the balance of the squad is most probably tipped a little bit at the top end, and we've got to find that middle ground a bit.
How advanced are your plans for the summer transfer market? Have you already got specific targets in mind?
Well, we've got targets, but we won't know until we actually sit down and find out, where we are, what we're trying to achieve, and where we're going. And I think that's a meeting that obviously Mr. Lai and John will be involved in, with myself and everybody connected with the football side.
I know you don't like talking specific names.
So don't ask.
Okay, I won't. That's fair enough, I won't. Your form's struggled a little bit of late. It's been such a good season, Tony. Is there a bit of you that's thinking, look, we don't want to sour all the good so far?
I don't think we've played that bad, Rob. I think that that in the 5 games that we've lost, I don't think there's any game where you can come off and say the lads were absolutely out of it. Got completely outplayed or weren't good enough or whatever. I just don't think things have gone for us, and I think that's how tight it is in the Premier League. Sometimes, you need a break. You need to take your chances, which we haven't done, but you also need a break as well. And even going back to the Leicester game, they have one shot and they score from, and that's from a mistake from one of our players. So it's tight margins, and as I've said, when we were doing well, things can easily spin the other way, and they do spin the other way. We're not that good to think that we can get through games unless we get breaks at the right time and people take their opportunities and chances.
Taking those chances, goals is the biggest problem, isn't it? Does that affect your thinking in the transfer market as well?
No, it's always been there. If you look at when Sido left, we had Robson Canoe and Solomon. Free transfer and a player that's only spent 1 year in the Premier League. So we knew that was an area that we had to improve. But there was no one there at the time that we could get in. And as I've said before, I don't want to waste people's money by bringing someone in that he's just a backup and you spend a lot of money on him. We have to try and bring players in who are going to improve the first 11 and keep the club moving that way. That's the way I've always thought about it. That's the way I've always tried to approach it. So in the summer, that'll be certainly one of the areas that we'll be trying to improve.
Because you are still creating chances. If you weren't creating chances, you might be looking at creative players, but actually there's still a lot of creativity in the side, isn't there? Yeah,
and like I say, we have to take those chances. You have to take those opportunities and their chances. I think like I say, if you look over the 5 games, the opportunities and the chances that one or two of the lads have had, and you'd expect them to score, and they haven't been scoring, but that hasn't affected their approach. It hasn't affected their application or attitude. And this week they've worked as hard as they've done all season. It's a small group, I keep saying, but it's a good group, and they've got a fantastic attitude. What we've got to do now is get those 6 points from the next 4 games. That's the aim, and that's what we're desperate to do.
6 points that take you to your best ever points total. That's the target you're talking to the players about, is it?
Yeah, we want to get there. We want to do the best we possibly can over the next 4 games. They're 4 tough games, we know that. But if, like I say, the stars are all lined up for us and we get a break or 2, there's no reason why we can't do it.
Sean Dyche says that Albion are a bigger version of Burnley. I'm not sure whether that's a compliment or not. What do you make of it?
No, I know where he's coming from. I think that that there's levels that people can achieve, and there's levels that you have to accept that you can achieve now. Sean, what's this? His second year. He had a year, then relegated, then back in, and he's done fantastic to get him promoted again. I don't think he's got enough credit for taking Burnley back up, and he's had a fantastic season this year. And it's lovely to see a British manager getting the acclaim that maybe 1 or 2 of the foreign managers get. So it's nice for Sean, to be in a position of almost safety. We've still 4 or 5 games to go.
They need one more win to be safe. They'll be a tough proposition, won't they? Because they'll be wanting that at home.
Their own form speaks for itself. We've got no inhibitions about anything in respect of what we've got to do and what we haven't got to do there, and we know it'll be tough. But I like Turf Moor. It's a traditional ground. It's right top on the supporters are right on top of you on the pitch, and it's traditionally a very, very good club, and I enjoy going there.
Team news? Anybody struggling?
Yeah, we got Matty Phillips and Robson, unfortunately, are not going to be fit again. So, in the areas that maybe you'd like to spin 1 or 2 things around, we haven't got that opportunity. So we'll might make a few changes, freshen things up, and we'll see how we go.